Hi, everybody. Happy to have you here with me tonight in the locker room. I'm Alan Locher. I'm really looking forward to tonight's conversation. Many of you saw Caryn Richman during our Texas reunion in May, and I'm thrilled we finally get the chance to spend some time for a one-on-one conversation. Caryn's career has taken her from Broadway to daytime, primetime film, and now podcasting. She began her career starring as Sandy in the original run of Grease on Broadway, played Elena Decker throughout the 3-year run of Texas, stepped in as Lauren Fenmore on the Young and the Restless, brought Gidget back to life in the new Gidget, and joined the Brady family in A Very Brady Christmas and the Bradys. She's appeared in roughly 15 films, stars in The Potwins on Amazon, and now co-hosts the podcast Chatter Binge with Ed Kalegi. I'm so happy she's here with us today. Please welcome back Caryn Richman to the locker room. Hey, Caryn.
Hey, we did it. And I'm so happy here. I'm just adjusting myself. There we go.
Perfect. We did do it. I'm sorry it took us so long to get this scheduled, but I'm so happy you're here.
Well, I'm happy to be here. I enjoyed talking with you so much when we did our Texas reunion. And I know it's always hard because we were all just blabber.
You were all very excited to see each other. That's for sure.
That was a trip. We were so grateful. And then you did another one.
I did. Yeah.
How I caught some of it.
With Terry Garber, Michael Woods, Harley Jane, and Tina Johnson. Yep.
They were amazing. And it's funny, it really did strike me that we were different generations within that show. Because we really did have sort of those of us that started. And then I hadn't really thought about this until I watched that second reunion, how bonded they really were, in very much the same way that John McCafferty and Ken Schreiner and Tom Wiggin and I were more bonded. And we all had a love fest, but we really came in at very different times. So
it's so true. Well, Thanksgiving is 2 days away. What are some of your traditions? Where do you spend Thanksgiving?
Well, I was just thinking about this. It's a good question. I actually was feeling a little melancholy, Alan, because we've gone in my circle. I've gone from being the baby in my family and having a very large extended family. And now it's sort of this little micro family where, it's shrunk a bit. I do have family back east, but I am going to be in LA and spending Thanksgiving with loved ones, but it certainly has shrunk. And it's an interesting time, the holidays. I think for so many of us, it brings up a lot of feelings, joyful, and I hate to be a downer, for God's sakes. I'm Gidget, but it's that feeling of time gone by a little bit,
It is. I mean, life does speed by. One of my best girlfriends from high school, her dad died a few months ago, and it'll be there. It's always for families like that. They're first without a loved one. Always tough.
I'm really feeling that this year, and I'm hopeful that you are not feeling that. How about you?
No, I'm good. It's just going to be my husband and my father-in-law and I, and my husband's cooking and with lots of leftovers, and so we'll have a nice time. It's kind of pouring right now in New Jersey. I hope the weather gets a little better. Yeah, I hope it gets a little better. But yeah, so I know, I can't believe it's 2 days away. But you mentioned
cook. Your husband is a good cook?
He is. He's a good cook. I'm very lucky that way, and a great baker. Even better baker than he is a cook, but he's a good cook.
Oh my God. I'm coming to your house for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, holidays, he does, the gift is his cookies. Like, he'll make a mix of cookies for everybody, so.
That's so sweet. That's yummy. I love it. Okay,
I love it too. Love sweets. Definitely love sweets. You mentioned East Coast. You are a born and bred New Yorker.
I am weirdly on my IMDb page, which for those that are not in the entertainment business, many of you that aren't, it's sort of a listing of your credits. And somehow it says I was born in Jericho. I was not. I was born in Brooklyn. Somebody put that up there, and it's time that I fix that. But I did grow up in Massapequa Park, Long
Oh,
Island.
yeah, yeah.
I am an East Coast gal, and
A
I
Long
miss
Islander.
a Long Island. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael is watching from Long Island right now. He said it's pouring rain on Long Island.
Oh, well, I tell you what, I'm in Los Angeles right now, and it was sunny and in the 70s, and it sure does not feel like Thanksgiving, unfortunately. So
What do you remember about growing up here on the East on Long Island?
all the senses, Alan. I was thinking about this on Halloween. I remember as a little girl walking through the leaves and just that simple sensory input of the leaves crunching under your feet and the air being crisp and the smells of neighbors' fireplaces burning, all of that um, really meant this, which is now my favorite time of the year. I think from Halloween through Christmas is just such a joyful and sweet time. But I have a lot of sweet memories of the holiday season. And yeah, I mean, LA, it's not so festive in terms of our weather.
Yeah, well, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't feel. I mean, when you grow up here and you know what it feels like at Thanksgiving and Christmas, I'm sure it's a little weird that you're not cold or you're not seeing snow at times or
No, and we don't, we don't have the seasons, which is probably a plus and a minus levels. But I really, truly, having been born and bred, I miss it. And I'm sure for you, have you spent your whole life
I
in
have. Yeah.
the coast? Yeah. So doesn't, I mean, the Thanksgiving Day parade and
Mhm.
wearing sweaters, I happen to be wearing a sweater, but that's just an old age thing that women start. Oh, just But that the whole bundle up and hot chocolate and hot apple cider and
Yeah.
apple, I'm really missing all of
I
that.
was watching a video on, I think, Instagram of rehearsals going on for the Macy's parade, and it was Jonathan Groff. Um, but
Oh,
going to 77th Street the night before, where you could watch them blow up the balloons, which was always a great thing
what-
as well. Yeah,
oh,
it, it
my
it is
my
something
sister
about
has.
New York.
Oh my gosh, it's just perfect. It's perfect during the holidays. My sister, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but my sister and brother-in-law have an apartment right in Columbus Circle. And I'm dreaming one of these years, on a very high floor. And I'm dreaming of just holding up there one of these Thanksgivings and watching the balloon.
That's the way to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
That is definitely the way to watch. And you went to school here on the East Coast, Syracuse University, right?
Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you for knowing that. I always think to myself, when I first came out to Los Angeles and I saw UCLA and Pepperdine University and the campuses and the weather, and I thought, what the heck was I doing going to I loved it as far as a campus, and I certainly, loved it as far as curriculum and friends that I made there and all that good stuff. But it was so friggin', not going to curse on a live show. It was so ridiculously cold.
Yeah.
It was really cold, but I
Yeah,
left.
our neighbor across the street, their daughter is going to Syracuse right now.
Oh, what is she majoring in? Do you know?
She
Who they have?
sports reporting. She's being a journalist, but sports is the
That's her
the
thing.
yeah, that's her niche. And you studied theater, but you also studied social work, right?
Yes, weirdly, I did not study theater, although I wish I had.
Oh,
I
you
never
didn't?
did theater. I wanted to be a psychologist and a social worker, but so much of that was because I didn't understand that it was even a possibility of like choosing to be an actor. It was my dream. Alan, I used to like sit in my bedroom with my hairbrush, pretending that Barbara Streisand and Funny Girl, and that's who I wanted to be. I wanted to be in musical theater, but I come from a rather traditional home, and nice Long Island girls do not become actors, and um, my brother sadly was schizophrenic, and so I was
Mm.
really to helping to studying, psychology, how the mind works, sometimes sadly how the mind goes wrong. And so yeah, I majored in psychiatric social work.
Wow, that's amazing. I last year I would say I had um, Jake and Lorette McCook. John McCook, if you look him up, you will know he's been on The Bold and the Beautiful since day one. But he
Oh,
was also, he's a very well known actor. But his son is schizophrenic, and
oh,
his mother. Sorry, so Jake and Mom wrote a book called The Cliffs of Schizophrenia, which was an
I'm
amazing.
writing this down.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I will. I'll send it to you. Reach out to me if you forget.
okay,
Yeah,
I would
but
like that.
and just speaking to Jake and her, I learned so much. I didn't know anything about it, and I commend you for wanting, to help your brother. I mean, it's
Oh,
when you
thank
see
you.
them suffering as they do during that, that's really hard on a
Especially,
family.
yeah, I would agree, and I take your good thoughts to heart. And I'm sorry for them. I think, depending on your level of schizophrenia, depending on whether they're able to control it somehow with this cocktail of medications, it's rough. It's rough, and they struggle, and
Mm.
everybody. So I'm sorry for them. I would love to read that book,
It,
though.
it, it it was fascinating because it was what you'll really enjoy the book because it was both of their perspectives. So him talking about things and how mom saw it and stuff like that. So it's a
Oh, I'm sure.
really fascinating look at it, and it was a tough road for him. I mean, it definitely, and I'm sure
Yeah,
most people, I don't think it's not something that's an easy road, but so helpful that people talk about it now, that they wrote the book, that it could help
yeah.
other people, because for so long people didn't talk about it. And I was curious because to ask what led you to study that, because I have found, like, in the last 5.5 years of hosting this, so many actors study like social work or psychology, or it's a fascinating you know turn in many actors worlds, that's some of them have started that way or they've then gone into it.
Yeah, I literally was just having this conversation on Sunday with an actor who had studied history, and I asked him why history, and we were having this conversation. And I, again, I didn't think that I was going to be lucky enough or blessed enough to end up being an actor, but I think is sort of the flip side, like what's going internally, human nature, how the mind works,
Mm-hmm.
uh, outward expression of trying to be these real people in very unreal circumstances, which is what an actor is pretty much,
Yeah.
asked.
Yeah, I just
That
find it very, very interesting. So you began your career in the National Touring Company of Greece, which then led to you starring as Sandy in the Broadway production. I mean,
Yes.
now
So,
knowing you were singing in your bedroom and growing up on the East Coast, Broadway at your fingertips, what was it like to step foot on that Broadway stage?
well, For the sake of my bio, I certainly didn't go into a lot of deep detail about that chapter in my life, but I really appreciate you asking about it because it's like everything for me. That's what started it. That's what.
If you were singing Funny Girl, that had to be
I know.
everything.
And the reason that I went to this audition, so here I am in Syracuse, nice Jewish girl from Long Island. You know, the expectation is you're going to get married and have kids and live happily ever after, probably on Long Island. And they
Probably on Long Island.
would have loved because I would have had those crunchy leaves under my feet at this time of year. But they were having an open call for Grease on Broadway. And I thought, oh, are you kidding me? You get to stand on the Broadway stage when you audition. And that was my goal, 100%, was just to stand on that stage and sing 15 bars and thank them and go back up to school. And in those days too, and I hate to sound like, you know, Methuselah or Grandma Moses here, but they really did like a cattle call, they were called, where you just lined up outside the theater and they gave you a number and you had your 5 minutes and that was it. And to make a very long story short, 2 months later, they offered me the role of understudy in a national touring company. And so at that point I had to make a decision, but it was so close. It was in my, you know, in my reach. And my parents thought I was probably out of my mind. I know my dad was completely freaked out. I went on the road. I was understudy and I got to play in that time. This show was very different than the movie, but you play a number of different roles. And ultimately, I got the role of Sandy as people would move in and out of touring companies, go to Broadway, blah, blah, blah. And then I was blessed enough to get to play it on Broadway for a short period of time. And then later reprised the role with Jack Wagner and Rex Smith in the roles of Danny. I was already in my 40s and played Sandy in those tours. So Grease to me is just this giant gift that kept on giving for many, many years. The fact that it was my, you know, I had the opportunity to play it every which way, and that was my first experience. And I am forever grateful. And we have Grease reunions all the time. We had our 50th anniversary 2 years. Was it 2 years? Oh, that's
I
right.
mean, my favorite movie of all, I mean,
Is Grease?
oh God, yeah.
But the weird thing is the movie is very, very different than the show
I,
because
I definitely saw the show at some point. I don't remember how different at this point because it's been many years, but I know
it was simple.
I saw one of the ones on, well, you know, the possibly with Rosie O'Donnell when she did it. Because
Oh, and that was already a whole different
yeah, a whole, I think.
thing.
Was John Travolta on the road with you at some point?
No, but please know that that there were 9 years in there. I believe I'm getting this right. Where from the moment it opened till the day it closed on Broadway, it was a very, very long, extended run. The original, there were so many different companies that so many different people really got their start in that show. They hired all these youngins. Everybody was wide-eyed and teenagers. And, you know, as you can imagine, we were having the time of our lives. So, oh my gosh, what is with this? I'm so, guys, my AirPod is not staying in.
It's popping out.
Yes, it is. Uh, John Travolta originally played the role of Duty, which is so fascinating because Duty is a role that's really sort of, if you were to characterize it, more dorky.
Yeah.
And he became this, you know, superstar, Danny for sure. But so many people started in that show. Barry Bostwick, oh my God, Mary Lou Henner. I mean, the list truly is miraculous when you look. And it was a very simple show. And once they made the movie, then it became a much bigger production with dance numbers, different songs. Hopelessly Devoted is not in the show. You're the One That I Want was never in the Broadway show.
Oh, wow.
Really made it a big production for the movie. And I do remember this, and please tell me if I'm talking too much,
No,
although
no, no.
I think we're supposed to be talking, right?
We are.
We are. I was in the company that played the Pantages Theater in Los Angeles at the same time that Grease, the movie Grease, opened. And I will never forget that John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John came on stage for our curtain call. And it was in that moment that I think all of us realized, oh, you need to be a movie star. Like the theater is amazing and we love it. But all of a sudden we were little bit eclipsed by the celebrity and the fanfare about this film. And in that moment, I remember I got managers and agents, and I moved out to LA soon after that, as did many in that
It's
company.
kind of like what we're witnessing right now with Wicked,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And they
It really is. So singing Funny Girl in Your House and dreaming of this, but really not pursuing it. When, did you take singing lessons? How did you know you had this gift?
It's funny you should ask that. I'm not sure I don't know if I knew that I could. I did enough plays in high school. I went to summer camp and was in productions. I did community theater in college. I did Godspell. I did it whenever I could. And I have to be truthful, I do not have the most stellar vocal instrument in the world. I've always done pop musicals more so. I always looked sort of like the ingenue and I should play those roles, but my vocal range was more limited and I had more of a pop voice. So I did musicals like Grease, which honestly, for Sandy, is not a giant range. She has one note at the end of Summer Nights that's high. And
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
it's sort of within a very small range. So luckily for me, that was not much of a deterrent. And I've since done some musicals, pop musicals, and jukebox musicals where my voice was more, was a better fit. So I didn't.
Well, speaking of that, guess what I listened to this morning?
Oh no. I just flashed. Is it Tuxedo Junction?
I
No.
did. I listened to Chattanooga Choo Choo on
No.
Spotify.
Oh, of Chattanooga Choo Choo?
I think so. It said it was
The disco version.
well, it was the Tuxedo Junction version.
Yeah, so the group Tuxedo Junction, we were this pop disco group in the late 70s, right before disco died. And again, even as I speak it out loud, it's so funny that, I don't really identify that much as a singer. I'm an actor who sings. And yet I joined a recording group.
It's
Um,
incredible. I mean, when I read Chattanooga Choo Choo, I'm like, the name sounds familiar. And then when the song came on, I was like, oh my God, I absolutely know that.
Oh my gosh, we did like Dance Fever. We did a disco show in Las Vegas with Wolfman Jack and Peaches and
Oh God,
her.
Wolfgang Jack. I remember it.
Uh, Do you remember him? You're a little
I
too
do,
young, but
like, yeah, the name I do. Was he a DJ or something? What
he
was
was he had a very distinctive voice and he was very identified, or at least at the time in the late 70s, very identifiable with sort of this world of disco. And
so funny? I
uh,
remember that. Yeah.
those Vegas shows where there's roller skaters and sequins, and there we were singing disco versions of 40s hits. So Chattanooga Choo Choo, um, oh my God, my mind is so blank, but the song Tuxedo Junction. Oh my gosh, you know what? It was so long ago, I'm not even remembering. Um, but anyway, the point is, and we'll just ignore that I have mind blips at this point in my life.
I do too. Don't worry.
So it'll all come to me. No, what's the begin? What is that song? I'm freaking myself out.
It's you guys did it as
Okay.
Tuxedo Junction?
Yes, but it was a very, very popular song. I'm gonna have to Google it, but we don't have any breaks here, so
No,
I'll
I'm
tell
gonna see if I can pull it up on Spotify. I don't know if it'll
you
come
what
up.
in the beginning. No, come on, Karen. I'm looking. I can't. I'm putting on my glasses now, and I'm gonna look. Something. Anyway, now I'm freaking myself out. In the beginning, no. Okay. Moving along, though, absolutely the fact that
Oh
oh
my
my
God.
God.
I just noticed this is, I think, a picture too. Oh, Begin the Big Wine. Is that
Begin.
it?
No, I was right. See, I doubted myself. Yes, that was quite a popular song in the 40s, and we did it as a disco version. So, okay. Um,
Oh,
but
interesting. Now, I don't know
and
if
we were
I have the if I listened to the right Chattanooga Choo Choo this morning. I might not
it,
have.
it was a version.
But I
And
see
it
Take
was
the A Train. Is that that's your
y-
album?
y- yes, Take the A Train
Yeah.
and very 40s, very,
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I'm gonna keep my glasses on. How's that? I'll
Yeah,
see you.
you look
You'll
great. Uh, as Ron said earlier, Caryn does not age.
Oh my Lord, Ron, bless you. My ego is very, very grateful. Thank you. A
So
woman business is tough. Okay, thank you,
yeah, I'm
Ron.
sure. So after Tuxedo Junction and Broadway, Texas came around. Thinking
Texas,
thinking back to May, what was it like for you to see Kin and John and Tom after all those years?
it was such a gift. You gave us a great gift because, we all know that we're out there, thankfully, and still here, but there was never an occasion necessarily that we were all going to be in the same place. And these days with technology, the fact that we were able to be with you and with Tom Lisanti, Lisante or Lisanti?
I say
Lisanti.
Lisanti, I don't know, but Tom, I think Tom is watching. So
Oh, please, so forgive me for butchering your last name. You say tomato, I say tomato. But he wrote this beautiful book, this retrospective, but you were so kind to invite us to all get together. And oh my God, every time I think about it, I smile because those were really incredible years for us. As you saw, we were
oh
just
yeah,
kind of
you
all
really could tell. You got it right, Tom said.
okay, good. Thank you. Sorry, Tom.
And Nikki says she looks exactly as she did on Texas.
Oh, Nikki, I call you every morning. Thank you. I need this. I
when
appreciate
when
it.
you when you she says Texas, I think she Texas was the best, underrated.
Again, I know we talked about this when we did that reunion. We didn't really know what we were doing. We were just happy, most of us at least, to show up and have a job and, do have that experience. And for someone like me in particular, who didn't have a lot of acting training, I didn't really know what I was doing. I made a joke when we had that reunion that I learned from Tom's book that the upstairs executives were not all that thrilled with the younger cast members. And I'm thinking, well, that's insulting. But on the other
But
hand,
they didn't know what they were doing either from reading Tom's book. There
don't
was
know.
a lot of stuff going on where people, thought they
Yeah,
knew how to.
I think that that is very true. But from the actor's point of view, to have that gift to be invited to show up and film every day for, that long, I didn't even realize this, but I learned after the fact that I had done 268 episodes of that show. And so I learned how to act at least a little bit in those years. And
You can't
excuse me.
not working on a soap. You know,
Yeah,
Eh,
exactly.
you really, back then, today, if you can survive 268 episodes, you learn. I mean, you also learn if you are interested in learning. You know what I mean? Like by watching. I mean, you know, the gift of being able to just watch Beverly McKinsey on that stage. You know,
Oh,
like to watch anybody.
the queen, the queen. Have you ever acted? You struck,
Uh, College. You know,
yeah.
just like you, a Jewish boy from New Jersey never thought he could work or act in entertainment. Like I was going to college really to be an accountant. And thankfully, somebody overheard me say what I wanted to do, which was get into entertainment. And they got me a job as a page at ABC Television, helped me get a job at,
Oh,
and
wow.
really changed the course of my life. You know,
Isn't that fascinating
just
though? How,
I was working to support myself in college, and I was managing a health club in Jersey and having a conversation with a very nice woman who I was friendly with. She was a client there, a member of the gym, and she was asking what I wanted to get into, and somebody overheard it and changed my life. It wasn't who I was having the conversation. I mean, really, you know, how somebody could give you that
well, it
gift.
just takes one yes, right? Or one little
Yeah.
turn. All of a sudden
Yeah.
you're completely different direction.
I
Well, and how,
mean, right. You chose to go from Syracuse to that open audition just to feel what it felt like. You had no thought that you would possibly get it. You wanted to do it.
never,
And
never
if
in my,
you or your parents or somebody had talked you out of it, like you made the choice and it was the right choice.
I guess we never know in life, but
Yeah.
I tell you this, I am so grateful to the extent that I have been able to work in my lifetime in a business that, other than saving animals, is my number one love. I I think about so many of us that end up in I don't, we don't need to go down this rabbit hole, but it is a gift to be able to do what we love. For you, for me, for Tom Lasante out there in the writing world, for any of us that are blessed enough to do what we love in any form, even as a hobby, I think, yay, that's a good thing, right?
It is absolutely. Talk to me about animals. Where did your love of animals begin?
I, I wish I knew. Honestly, from my earliest age, whenever we would like go out to dinner, my parents belonged to a golf club on Long Island, very Long Island kind of thing
Yeah,
culturally.
totally.
And we would have dinners in a dining room, and I would sneak out and go try to touch the feral cats that were in back of the restaurant. I was obsessed with animals. And I don't, all of my life, I would say if I were to pick one thing, if I had to choose between acting and working with animals, I think oddly I would probably choose working with animals. Um,
So do you
I
work with them now?
I do. I do a ridiculous amount of rescue. I'm insanely passionate. And for some reason, I love dogs as much as cats. But it's sort of focused on cats because in Los Angeles, we have a terrible feral cat problem, and it's not so prevalent with dogs. So I'm insanely passionate about TNR, which is trapping and having them fixed and then releasing them because there just aren't enough homes. But they suffer so much. And um, I'm an insane cat lady. I mean, luckily there's a partner in the mix, but but nonetheless, there's my ex and I literally had 14 cats at one time. Yeah, I was that person, but a lot of them were
I
kittens.
need to introduce you to my friend Debbie in New York City. A
Does
she's a
she
cat,
do?
and my husband and I have friends. They now live in Portugal. She was a vet, but she's a cat person as well. She was a vet.
Well, I mean, I think you can tell a lot about a person's nature, and I'm not suggesting that people need to be obsessed but just how they treat animals, the respect.
I'm going to send you my nephew's Instagram. Both my nephews live in Denver, but one of them is a phenomenal wildlife photographer. Like, he goes out, he gets up at the butt crack of dawn and captures these ridiculous, but he also volunteers at like a animal shelter with all, like, it's Denver, so he gets
all kinds of
raccoons. He's holding raccoons and all of these, incredible. But
that's my dream.
His photo. Oh, you should look. I mean, his photos are phenomenal.
Okay, don't forget all these things.
I won't. I won't. But that's so cool. I should send you a link to a show. I mean, they are more dog rescuers, but a gay couple in, I think they're in Florida now, Danny and Ron, ended up rescuing hundreds, if not more by now. They have a full-blown rescue, but it was after Hurricane Katrina, and they created their rescue after that. There's even a documentary on Netflix, I believe, or it was, but I'll send you the show I did with them. You just would love these two men. I mean, what they created to really, like, they had as many dogs in their house as you had cats, for the same.
And by the way, I would as well. I think it's easier with cats because you can walk away for the day and not. But, had my lifestyle afforded that, I would have as many of everything. I want to say one thing. First of all, they're my heroes. Second of all, before I leave this earth, I'm going to have an animal rescue. So that's my promise. And thirdly, I wanted to mention, this is how obsessed I am about animals. So when Katrina happened, I lost sleep constantly, and how tragic for the people. But when we all thought about the animals trapped, that everyone had to run, and how quickly they were dying and starving. And I'm not saying this to be like, oh, Caryn, you're such a good person. That's not what I meant. But I really have this much passion. I jumped on an RV with complete strangers, and we drove across the country with medical supplies. And I worked at a huge rescue center in New Orleans. And I spent one day out in the field. This was already 2 weeks after. And we had to, be and cover ourselves in hazmat suits, basically, because the mold was so intense. And most of the animals that day were no longer alive. And then I couldn't go back in the field, but I did volunteer with walking the dogs. And it was a giant, farm animal facility with hundreds. And so I would love to talk to I want to talk to in your life.
Yeah, I mean, when you see what they created, it's Danny and Ron's Rescue, I think is what it's called. But I'll definitely send it to you. You also filled in for Tracey Bregman on The Young and the Restless, right?
It was so weird, but yeah, I did. It's so bizarre.
What was that like? She's so well known for that role, and to come in, was it difficult?
I think I'm either oblivious or very, very naive, or both. I knew Tracey. So I didn't know her that well, but we have a very dear mutual friend, and I had met her. And then I don't remember if I auditioned or if that was a little bit of an offer, but I'm going to guess I auditioned. And the fact that they made the decision, though, to put in somebody new during her maternity leave, she was clearly coming back. I don't know. I mean, soap operas, we've laughed about this. I know you've been part of this discussion. And, you look at soap operas, people come back from the dead, they're their own twin.
Yeah. And she must have been in story, because a lot of times they'll write somebody going on maternity leave out? You know, the actress.
Well, we were in the middle of quite a story with Scotty, though,
Yeah.
and I did not do a lot of episodes, as I recall. I did 2 or 3 episodes, and then she came back. So I don't know if she came back sooner than she was supposed to, or if they thought it wasn't really working. I had a blast, honestly. Um,
It's just got to be fun to work. I mean, that's, you know.
Oh my gosh. And that show in particular, that's such a legendary show. And I got to work with a friend of mine, Peter Barton, who was playing Scotty at
Yeah.
um, and yeah, the Young and the Restless world, that's quite an
Yeah,
institution.
that's a big difference from Texas.
I guess I always feel that I've been on the periphery of a lot of different things, but a master of none. Like I didn't, I think back and I think we might have even talked about this, or maybe it was just a thought when we did our reunion show, but I often wonder like, oh my gosh, should I have stayed in soap operas? Because I remember after Texas went off the air, there was an opportunity to go to a different soap, and I had um, my agents or managers or whoever, the people in charge of me, because obviously I had no say in my own life. They
Do you
worked.
remember which soap?
I don't, which says again a lot about my brain. I don't, but it
Well,
was a new,
it's
it
a
was
couple years ago.
just a few. Uh, but uh, I guess the point is I didn't stay in soaps because everyone thought, no, let's go to prime time. Then I was lucky enough to sort of get into prime time with the new Gidget, but that was a syndicated show and didn't do as well as anybody hoped. So that too was sort of, an opportunity. If it had been Friends or Mad About You or some like giant successful show, 30 something, I don't know, anything, it would have been a different road traveled. You know, I sort of am a little bit in a lot of different areas, but it always occurs to me that I didn't really stay focused in one and necessarily make a huge success in any of them. And not that I'm complaining, I feel blessed and, but
And it's definitely not an easy thing to do. I mean, it's, there's so many factors, uh, that go
oh,
into it. I mean,
yes.
getting the title role of Gidget is a big deal, though.
At the time, at the time it was quite a search, any petite actress in Los Angeles at the time, because Gidget, and I'm sure many people don't know this, but Gidget was a nickname given to this character and it stands for girl midget. So she was
I never
immediately,
knew that.
because it was a surf culture and they gave everybody these nicknames at the beach, Moondoggy, the Big Kahuna. This is a whole culture which certainly I knew nothing about coming from Long Island.
That's so wild. But I mean, it's, you say the name Gidget and they think of Sally immediately. So like that is
Yes.
an iconic role. And looking at you, I can see, why immediately, because you really do have a huge resemblance to her.
Yeah, I truly wish I had 1/100th of her career. But yes, but
Were
weirdly,
you were you told that prior to Gidget?
no, I got Valerie Bertinelli a little bit,
Oh
but
yeah, I can see that.
that's a huge compliment, more so in my younger days, I think.
No, no, I see both really, and
Yeah,
now I see it because Valerie's wearing glasses a lot, so I
I'm
really see it. Yeah.
so really vain and I'd like to take them off, but I
Yep.
can see much better. Forget
um,
about forget,
but that
oh, wait,
being
I
told you
just
look like Sally or Valerie is not a bad thing. I
don't
always
go.
got George Michael.
Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
My earpod fell off.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. This is live television. I mean, live YouTube. Okay, now
It
the
is.
backdrop's not great. Okay, Why do these not stay in, by the way? Okay,
I
I'm not gonna,
don't know.
here we go.
But I can see both. I definitely can see both.
This one keeps falling
No,
out.
I meant I can see Valerie and Sally.
Oh, thank you. Okay, good. Yes, she is wearing glasses, Valerie Bertinelli. I saw her the other day on social media and I thought, oh yeah, she has much more refined features than I do. I wish I had her features. But
I'm
anyway,
going to let Mike know that, because Mike is watching, that you're going to send him that autograph. Mike is,
yes, I have it and tell him, please, thank
yes, Mike,
you for watching. Mike, thank you.
she has your address and she's going to send it. So thank you, Mike.
I'm
What was the experience like, joining a series that was getting a lot of press at the time too, like, and a role, knowing it,
Again, I think when you're in it, I feel like there's a certain level of innocence in that I knew it was an iconic character, but really as an actor, we just want to work. So
Mhm.
it was another job, and it wasn't one that I thought I would necessarily get. But I do remember thinking, because it narrowed the playing field, because you had to be petite. I could do and shrinking. So I am the very definition of petite. And they wanted this wholesome all-American look that it was sort of the way my features ended up being arranged on my face. No fault of mine or no gift of mine. It's just there. And I thought, it's so much who I am. And especially back in those days, before when you have sort of this wholesome little presentational self, I was very gidgety. I was very much that. And so
Did
I
you
remember
watch it growing up in
I
repeats?
well, I did in repeats, absolutely. And I did watch The Flying Nun. And
Oh, me
so,
too.
right? Okay, good.
I mean, I've
And
been in love with, well, I probably have liked Sally since The Flying Nun and had seen some of her movies, but Brothers and Sisters really was like, for me, her and that was like,
she's such a good actor. And I always wondered though, because she really denounced Gidget, I mean, that felt like, she's not necessarily proud of that. I think she's changed that tune a bit. You know, acting, I think, is acting. And she did such a beautiful job as Gidget at that age. She was 16 years old or 15 years old when she did that. But the fact that she has such a wide span of talent and the things that she's been able to do. And I really,
and an
she's a,
activist,
yeah,
she's everything. Uh, I'll share a funny, because of Brothers and Sisters, my husband was, could just say her name and I would smile. So he would
ah,
always, like, it was his way to make me, Sally Field. And so I actually saw her at a play at Lincoln Center. And I said, I have to tell you that my husband will just say your name to make me smile. And she loved it.
and what did she love
She
it?
loved it. Yeah.
Oh, what a compliment to her. I
Yeah. Right.
stalked her at the Directors Guild Awards once, and I couldn't really make myself known to her, but I always wanted to just say to her, thank you, thank you for leading the way in that role. But Sandra Dee played it her originally in a movie. I was I'm the seventh actress to play this role. I know.
I had no idea. Wow.
Nor did I until, because you think of Gidget, you think Sally Field. But if you look at the history of Gidget, not that anyone necessarily needs to, it started as a film in the 50s with Sandra Dee playing the title role. And then they had all these movies of the week. Karen Valentine was a Gidget. They had Gidget Goes to Rome, Gidget Gets Married, Gidget. I don't know. I
I
have to
had
look.
no idea.
Yeah. So, and they haven't done a Gidget since. And I desperately want them to do Grandma Gidget. Why wouldn't they do Gidget now? And I'm ready. If you're out there, I'm so ready.
Absolutely. That's really smart. I mean, a grandma and her granddaughter.
I mean, it's because generationally, that's very much what we're up to. And, you think about it like Why? I don't know. It has something to do with the rights are tied up or something. I don't know. But nonetheless, Gidget, just to answer your question, which I think I have failed miserably at, um, I don't think it was a big deal at the time specifically because it was Gidget. It was a big deal because I just wanted it. And it was a very long process. It was a 2 month, as I remember, process, whereas usually you sort of, you audition and within a week or two you find out or you have callbacks. They had a number of callbacks. And then when I did find out, the last time we were all in this big boardroom at Columbia Pictures Television, and they told me I had gotten the role. And I did something so silly and so gidgety. I was like jumping up and down. I said, I have to call my parents. And in the boardroom with all of these executives, they must have thought I was a lunatic. I put my parents on speakerphone and called them and told them that I had gotten the role. And it was a really happy day because we didn't know. And that was just for a movie of the week. We had done Gidget's summer reunion. Had no idea that it might potentially go and be a series. So that was a beautiful surprise after that. Oh, okay, that's a long story.
I
Okay.
bet. I bet. You talked about, Long Island girl, Jewish girl I'm a Jewish boy from New Jersey. And uh, your dad not so sure of you taking this career jump. Did his tune change?
I think he was always puzzled, quite honestly, Ellen. My father was raised as an Orthodox Jew.
Oh,
And so,
wow.
yeah, his daughter, and when I say Orthodox, just for our viewers, your
Yeah.
viewers, it's not Hasidic, but it is very, very religious. And traditionally, this probably very much was not what he had thought of for his daughter. But I had an article came out after Gidget or during Gidget in the Jewish Journal, which for any Jewish family at the time, it was a publication very much focused on the Jewish people. And it was the concept was, Jewish girl is Gidget. I don't know. That's not obviously what they were saying. But my father had died, and I think once he saw that I loved it and was able to make a living, I I didn't struggle in the beginning. I was again lucky that I had very long projects. Texas was 3 years, Gidget was 3 years. Even, I had the gift of having employment in a business that notoriously struggle and you do everything but do the very that you love until somebody says yes. I had a really good run, and so I think he was okay with it. But I do think
I,
oh, what are you doing?
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. That's so great. You know,
How
um,
did you feel about you going in this direction? Did they have feelings about this?
no, I mean, no, because I luckily got that job as a page, and I really wanted to be in this business, and I did every internship, and I grew up watching As the World Turns and Guiding Light through my mother, who learned to speak English when she moved to this country, watching those shows.
Where did she move
So
from?
from Holland, my parents were Holocaust survivors, um,
Uh,
which
and I
I,
don't,
you just talking about your Orthodox family. So because of this show, I started a series called Conversations with Alan that I do, talking about the rise of hate and anti-Semitism. And I happened to be doing my goal with Conversations was to do one a month. Um, that I started in about December of 2020, and I'm doing one in about 2 weeks with a gentleman who works at a Orthodox organization called Eshel, and their mission is to build LGBTQ plus inclusive Orthodox Jewish communities. So it was so
beautiful. Oh,
interesting that
fitting.
you just mentioned, the difficulty, because I know that the gentleman I'm speaking with, came out, I think, when he was at university, and it was difficult. And, I think marrying his, and I don't know fully because I haven't done the interview, but marrying his LGBTQ plus side with the religion, you know.
I mean, isn't that true though? For in every religion, but very much so, the more there's I was just having this conversation this weekend. It's beschert, as they say, having this conversation.
Yes, exactly.
Uh, how in the name of religion we can foster that level of not accept. That's a whole other show. But
No,
for
I mean, that's the thing, Caryn. My my parents were not alive to fully see, I think, me come into the understanding of what they had truly lived through. I knew they were survivors. I knew, we had visited, when I was 30, the family that hid my mother away, but it was really the Charlottesville situation that angered me so much that I wanted to start using my voice. I didn't have this platform at the time, and then a year later, I started. But I agree, religion, it's too much,
and bravo
too much hate
too.
too much hate in all of that. We
Hate.
have to talk about a very Brady and you marrying Greg Brady, because everyone watching, Kenneth said it's one of my favorite movies. Do you have
Yay!
a favorite scene from that movie? And I mean,
From
no matter who you are in the world, I mean, being a part of the
the break
Bradys had to have been incredible.
again at the time. I did not watch the Brady Bunch. I'm of a generation. I was already in college when the Brady Bunch was airing in the 70s. Again, how old I am. So I only knew
I
the
want
Brady
what
Bunch.
you're drinking.
Oh God, no, believe me, it's turtlenecks. Just cover up. I, I, of course, I knew the Brady Bunch and I had seen it but again, it wasn't until I walked on the set that I thought, it's the Bradys. It's the Bradys. And we at the time, there were this bunch of us that were the Brady spouses, and then there was the Brady Bunch. They were a very well-oiled machine, and they had clearly worked together for years. And I remember just thinking, how am I going to fit in? And am I going to be a good Brady wife? And we all got very close, but it's amazing to me how it keeps on going. And not for those of us that were the spouses, but I'm lucky enough to call Chris Knight a very dear friend, and he and his wife Kara, they live right around the corner. There's, this constant explosion with HGTV renovation, and now the Brady Bunch house. They've lent it to me for a tour for a cat rescue we're going to do with Chris Knight giving the tour, and
Oh, how fun.
get the details of that. But the point is, that whole culture to be part of that iconic family was amazing. But in the original form, when I first heard that they were thinking of me for it, I didn't necessarily again think, oh, it was more just when's my next job? Am I ever going to work again? But it was an incredible experience. Sadly, for anyone who watched the series The Bradys, which followed A Very Brady Christmas, they were trying so hard, unfortunately, to make it dramatic. And Marcia was an alcoholic, and I mean, it just didn't work. It was the Brady Bunch, and
I don't remember the series. I remember the Christmas. I remember. I mean, that was.
well, my role on there, I make this decision to go home and see my family. So I'm not in a big chunk of A Very Brady Christmas, but I am in the beginning. And certainly I come back at the end to rescue my father-in-law from the rubble, if anybody remembers that at the end. But it was a treat. I mean, that's all I can say. you look back and you think, wow, that was a beautiful chapter. That was fun. That was fun to do.
I'm sure I watched it in repeats, not when it was on, but I love the Bradys, the Brady Bunch. I mean,
It's the Brady Bunch. They just, everything lives
yeah.
happy, every ever after.
And
And
when I say goodnight to you, I'm going to get into bed, and what we've been watching every night is Bewitched on Hulu. Loving it
no,
from the
oh,
beginning. It
that-
is so funny for anybody who has Hulu. I highly recommend. It is the perfect show to watch before bed. It is still so funny, so funny.
and it's
What an
still
incredibly talented cast. Wow, wow,
I-
wow! What a
have
talented.
you talked to Erin Murphy, the actress that
Right,
played,
Tabitha.
uh, yes,
They
she's
just had Tabitha. They just had Tabitha. That's
she's
funny.
she's this gorgeous adult, and whenever I look at her face, I see her sometimes at events, and I'm like, you see her as that little girl on Bewitched. Yes. I mean,
Talk about
that
a
is,
gorgeous woman, Elizabeth Montgomery. Wow, gorgeous.
and that you're too young for it, but I actually grew up watching the first run.
Live. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I
I,
watched repeats for sure. I mean, I loved it as a
yeah.
kid, but
Can you
it was.
twitch her?
Oh, I used to Twitch all the time. I used to do Genie and Twitch, and
The
who
power.
didn't? Who
And
didn't? When you look back, like you described your vast career, what are the highlights to you? Favorite role or favorite job?
one that nobody ever saw, but speaks to my love of animals.
Uh,
Hollywood Safari, which was a show that aired on Animal Planet. Nobody saw it. We did 22 episodes, I believe, but I played a veterinarian. This was Animal Planet before they transitioned to just more documentary style shows. This was an hour-long drama. And in every single scene, I was working with an animal, whether
I
it
was
was
gonna
the
say this is like a dream. Like you couldn't have written this better
no.
for yourself.
The only thing better would have been if anyone saw it and if it had been somewhat successful. But to get to go to work, literally, I would have scenes where I was vacuuming and a chimpanzee was sitting on the vacuum, or a capuchin monkey was on my shoulder, or, every animal that you can think of, big cats, orangutans, little monkeys, big monkeys. Oh, we had every animal known to mankind. And it was hard to do because it was not about the acting. It was really more about the animals and their trainers. So getting through the scenes, every time you would even start to speak, the trainer was also speaking, and they just took all of that out in post-production. So from an acting point of view, it wasn't the easiest, but it was so joyful for me. So that was a big one. But the highlights along the way, I think, again, from Greece to the opportunity to do Texas, Gidget, I mean, how can I argue with being the title role of a series? And there was so much responsibility, and I was a nervous wreck. And how do I look in a bikini? And oh my God, and and all of that. But it was such a happy set. We were bonded, and it was upbeat. It was almost like a cartoon. It was so up. Um, that was a once in a lifetime, that truly, again, whether it was popular or not, if you're asking from my side
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
I
Your
can't,
side.
yeah, I mean, that was an amazing
Well, that I
experience.
think, you know, I don't know the word, but I mean, being able to just enjoy what you're doing is the gift as well. You
Being
know,
in,
you're getting work in a business you wanted to be in, and so that's to find something that makes you happy in each of those roles.
yeah, and again, eh, I know there's a whole thing about actors in our culture, and certainly about celebrities. myself included, I'm starstruck when I run into people that I've been watching on television. But I do think that whatever level you are in this business, in my business, you want to work. You just work. Certainly being a celebrity and having an incredible track record guarantees that you're going to work.
Yeah.
In my case, I'm grateful that I've been able to keep going, and the career that I've had, I wouldn't trade. Well, maybe I would, but I have to be thankful. Um, it's along the way. And every time I'm hired, honest to God, I don't want to sound like Gidget or Pollyanna, but I always think to myself, I'm so lucky. Like someone's asked me to come and play. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think our human nature changes. We're just like, I'm included. Yay. I feel like, again, Sally Field, you like me.
You like me. You really like me. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always surprised and excited whenever
I think that's a great way to be. That's a great way to be. Tell everybody about your new podcast.
ah I'm laughing because I did an interview, and I don't know if you know Ed Kalegi, but
I don't.
he had a podcast called The Weekend with Ed Kalegi. And he's absolutely wonderful at what he's done. He's had a very, very long career in broadcasting. He works with Bloomberg, does the weekend news, and he had a show on. And unbeknownst to me, he had had a vision for a particular show that was sort of his dream show. And we did 2 interviews together. I'll try to make this short, one of which the sound was ruined, which you can relate to as a host of your own show. And this is not on camera, his show. So he invited me to do a second interview, and we did it in person because he happened to have been in Los Angeles. And very much like yourself, and I'm not saying this, I mean this from my heart, it was a conversation. It wasn't necessarily, an interview, but it was a conversation that was valuable, and we covered a lot of ground. And I don't know what possessed me, but I sort of have no censoring ability. I was talking about aging in this industry, and fun stuff, sex stuff, whatever. He went back to New Jersey, which is where he's from, and I wrote as a joke, I said, "Oh my gosh, we should do something together. That was really a wonderful interview. Thank you." And he wrote back, "Okay," kind of, I'm paraphrasing. And he let me know that he has this dream of a show, and he's working with a parent company, Audio One, and invited me to be his co-host. Now, here's the thing. This is a fear of mine because, and I'm going to share this,
Hosting?
not hosting. I am a brain aneurysm survivor. And I bring that up because I suffered a ruptured brain aneurysm, which really means bleeding on the brain. So there is a part of my brain that is not as quick as I would like it to be. And I know it's not just age related, and I'm great and I function and I learn my lines and I'm a
Can I ask a
perfectly,
question? Do you know, because I lost a friend to that,
oh,
how
I'm so,
many, it, it's a very dangerous thing to have happen.
1 in 2 people die instantly.
That was the question. That was
Yeah,
because I did not think it was something that many.
because, and I'm so sorry that I'm cutting you off.
No, 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 no. That
This
was
is,
what I wanted to know.
yeah, statistically, 50% people survive, 50% of people drop on the spot. Excuse my blatant,
That is exactly what happened to my friend
I'm so sorry.
in his like 40s, I think, because it's a number of years ago. But
Incredibly, and there's not enough research, and I'm active in this arena as well. I will tell you that those that survive, the 65 to 70% have deficiencies, have cognitive challenges. And because it's invisible and people don't see it, and I will offer this up because I'm an actor and I think I've become very good at covering. But getting back to the podcast and even talking with you, there's a few moments in here where when I don't remember things, I'm thinking, I panic because it's not just old age memory. I don't know if it is or not, but I
Right.
feel crap, this is whatever. So when Ed had said, come do this, I jumped in because I was terrified of talking that much and having to be articulate and find words. And I thought, okay, universe, I'm going to do this, and I've been having so much fun. I think that's the thing. And this is your world, not mine. But I don't do as much of the interviewing, which is such a skill. And I applaud you because you're wonderful.
Thank you.
Um,
Appreciate
and I'm not saying that because I'm sitting here.
that.
I'm saying that because
I'm paying you.
and I want to raise. No, I'm saying I can't stop talking to you and asking you questions, and you're so engaging. But I think from my perspective, um, Ed and I do a lot of segments of just sort of ad lib improvisational segments about some serious things, some, animal rescue to, what side of does the toilet paper go on, up or under, like we just sort of ad lib a lot. And that's a skill that is unbelievably challenging for me. So I have jumped in and really am appreciative that I have been given this opportunity by Ed. And um, I'm improving, I think, or at least I hope, and I'm having a ball. And
Well, again, that's what it should be about, having a ball doing it.
yeah, I think so. But it's a different skill set, and I appreciate it so much more. What you do, it's a whole different thing.
It is a whole different. I mean, I was on the other side as a PR person. I was the one pitching you to be a
Oh,
guest on that person's show.
oh,
I was pitching talent to be on shows. Although the gift that I had was that page job, because the first show I worked on was Regis and Kathy Lee. So I watched, never knowing that the experience of because I was a page on that show, then I did my internship on that show, and then they hired me straight out of college on that show. So,
so what did you
you know,
learn about watching them? If I were to say to you, what was like, because they were effortless, weren't they? I don't.
to be prepared, to be
Mm,
prepared, do
yeah.
your research. And not that they did their research, like as an intern and somebody who worked on the show, we did the research for them, but they got it the night before so they could be prepared for the
Right.
morning. You know,
Yeah.
um, I used to panic if I didn't have time when I first started this, if I wasn't prepared and, have all, my questions. And I think it makes a huge difference for the guest to be prepared when you're,
Oh,
the guest feels you're interested. And, I've learned it along the way, also listening more. That, which is a thing I think you got to do as an actor too, right? It's about listening to,
hopefully, if
if
you're
you have a
doing
good
it,
if you have a good actor, you're working opposite, that they're listening.
or I mean, I think actors are notorious for being very self-concerned. But yeah, I think those that do it well, absolutely. All you need is a good partner, and not all, but to a great extent. And it's interesting because, yeah, as someone who is now a guest on your show, I feel I have to offer this up. I feel really well taken care of by you. You know what I mean? I appreciate that, and I thank you for that. And I don't
I
know,
appreciate you saying that, and I think that's part of the PR side of me as well,
yeah,
because I know, I'm sure it's in my brain, not something that I was like learned, but I would know that if I was taking somebody to an interview, and they didn't enjoy that experience, I would hear about that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting because even Ron, who's watching, said, "I feel like I'm watching, two friends on Zoom," and that's
Oh,
I love hearing that it doesn't feel like an interview. It feels like people are, like it's you and I in our living room, and people are, getting to listen in to what we're talking about. And when
yes.
people share that with me, that actually means the most because you know, it that's special that we're just having, and we go where it goes. Like, I mean, you shared about your brother and then your own aneurysm, and I share those things back. I mean, I think it's just honest conversations.
Yeah. Yes, but not, you know, you're like it's such a wonderful experience when you fall into that. And sometimes you don't. Having done a lot of interviews over the years, sometimes it's like, ah, somebody say something, or, you know, should I just keep talking? Because there's, I don't know.
I
You
think
know,
sometimes if the person isn't comfortable as well, they just will talk and answer. And, you know, I can tell, like, you and I can, we could do this for 2 hours, where
yes.
others, I could ask the same amount of questions and we could be done in 30 minutes because I think they're nervous or
Yeah. It's a different, not every, oh my darn AirPods. Obviously, I need a smaller size. Um, I don't know that I know that you don't just talk to actors, but I will say that I know that not all actors are all that comfortable if they're not speaking from a script. I mean, that's a
right.
whole, they're not necessarily related. Not everybody is outgoing
Yeah,
and
you
or
hear many times in interviews that actors are much more comfortable if they have lines than
yeah,
if they have to be themselves.
you hide behind that script and like nobody's
Yeah.
business. Certainly much more comfortable in some ways for some, but
Well, you're going to come back when you open that rescue and tell us all about it.
oh, I hope so. I would be so grateful. And, I want to thank you. I thank you for letting me blather on about myself for this long and for sharing a lot of your life. I have so many questions for you, and I feel like I want to
I'm gonna send
interview
you the
you.
book, Danny and Ron's Rescue. Um,
What else?
and
Danny Wants Rescued, the book. I have both of those written down. Um, I also want to do, yeah, I have those written down. Shameless plug, which is that
yes, you have a movie December 7th, right?
I do. It's just
Yes,
December. Yeah, it is. So I've been landed Christmas movie, Lifetime thriller world.
a Christmas murder mystery airing
A
on Up
yeah.
TV.
So I don't know what Up TV is, unfortunately, but poop. Don't tell them I said that, even though I just publicly.
Who do you play and who do you work with? Because I saw that there is many people in there that I know. Jason Shane Scott, someone else,
Yes.
someone else, because I saw his name. I'm gonna have to look now.
Rob, this I don't know. It was a wonderful cast. Michael Pare and I are husband and wife. The reason why I'm so excited about it, honestly, is that I usually don't get to play matriarch, the Beverly McKenzie of the Christmas movie, and now
Oh, I love that.
I've got to an age where like is that a word?
You're owning it.
Yes, and I thought I'm the matriarch. I'm not ingenue, and I think you know to be able to transition
Oh,
into that.
Vivica A. Fox, right?
Yes,
Vivica A. Fox,
other
Jason Shane Scott, my buddy, the can't believe I couldn't remember, Adam Huss from General Hospital
oh,
is in it.
yes, and Vivica. She filmed her portion in LA. We shot in Birmingham. So I did not get to work with her on this. I have worked with her on some other projects, but they shot her scenes in Los Angeles. But it's such a fun murder
You know,
mystery. And
who are your, if you're the patriarch, who are you?
I'm the
Who
matriarch,
are the
and Michael is the patriarch. And then my children um, are Rob Mayes is his name.
Yep,
and
Rob Mathis or Ron Mathis.
Mayes, and oh my God. You see, this is where the brain aneurysm makes me crazy because I know everybody's name. And I'm going to tell it to you right now because I'm going to look everybody up.
Randy
Uh,
J. Burrell,
yes,
who
that's
plays
my
Mike.
son. And Katie is my
Oh, and I
daughter.
see Rob Mayes, yes, because there's also a Ron Mathis in the
Oh,
movie.
yeah, the policeman. And he was also on our crew. Um, we had, this was one of those really special cast and crews experiences. They're all special, but sometimes you just bond beyond belief. And this was one of those. This was like camp for a group of adults who were all in Birmingham, Alabama, filming a Christmas movie in the summertime. So it's so much fun. So wherever Up TV is, I'm going to
Please watch it, but it's
watch.
December 7th.
Yes,
And I'm so
absolutely.
glad you reminded me because I did have that.
That, no, I've done a number of Christmas movies in this past year, but I don't know where they're landing or if they're landing anywhere or when. But this one is a guarantee, so
That's
I
great.
really
Yeah, and you should always bring that up. Absolutely. It's
thank you.
like a week and a half.
Yeah, and we're having
Yeah.
our premiere screening on December 3rd. So and the thing that's really terrifying, I must say, about saying it publicly, please watch this, when I have not seen it yet. I've had this experience where I've said, please watch this, and then I was horrified. So I'm I'm hopeful that it is every bit as wonderful as I believe it's going to be. And
Good.
if not, don't say a word and have a happy holiday.
Well, Caryn, thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Please stay
Thank
in
you.
touch.
I will, and thank you so much for having me. This was a great pleasure. Thank you.
Same here. Same here.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you to Caryn for sharing with us today. If you haven't yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so down below. Please turn on the notifications for reminders so you never miss an episode. And remember, if you like today's episode, click the like button. It always helps. You can also download audio versions by searching The Locker Room on your favorite podcast app. I will see you all very soon. Thank you again for spending this time. I wish you all a very safe and wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time in The Locker Room.